Welcome to the AME Food Testing Show. Today's topic, Food Safety Consortium 2013, with Rick Biros, Publisher, President, Food Safety Tech. Rick has over 25 years of business-to-business publishing experience. Early in his career, he worked on food processing and then food engineering magazines in a sales and then management role. He's the founder and principal in Carpe Diem Communications, where he's developed and launched Food Quality Magazine, the Food Quality Award, and the Food Quality Conference and Expo, as well as Pharmaceutical Formulation and Quality and Contamination Control magazines. Under his direction, Food Quality and Pharmaceutical Formulation and Quality received editorial excellence awards from the American Society of Business Publication Editors. In 2007, John Wiley Sons, Inc. acquired Carpe Diem and continues to publish Food Quality. Rick continues his entrepreneurial interests with the formulation of innovative publishing company, an event and ePublishing company. IPC launched Medical Device Summit in 2009, an e-journal, and a series on focused medical device conferences, Food Safety Tech, the e-journal in 2012, the Food Safety Supply Chain Conference in 2012, the Food Labs Conference in 2012, and the Food Safety Consortium in 2013. Now, welcome to the AME Food Testing Show, Rick Biros. Rick?
Thank you, Andy. That was a nice interview, and I'm really happy and excited to be here.
Well, Rick, we're very thrilled to have you tell us and our growing community of 76,000 food production, food quality, food safety, and food security managers about your newest project, which is the Food Safety Consortium. Tell us a little bit about the conference.
Well, the idea actually for this conference came about in the very late spring of this year. As you had mentioned in the interview, we had developed a single-track conference called the Food Safety Supply Chain Conference. And we were actually running that twice a year. And we were also seeing a plethora of other similar type of conferences that were, in essence, maybe not directly competing against each other, but ultimately we were competing for the attendees' time and resources. Most people don't have the time to attend multiple conferences each year. If they can get to one, they're lucky. So the idea came about after we finished our May conference and we looked at some other organizations that were either planning to do their own conference, doing their own conference, or really wanting to be part of a conference. And thus the name Consortium, which I've looked up in the dictionary, and there's two pronunciations, Consortium or Consortium, and they're both correct. But basically the definition is that it's an event or an organization where like groups or organizations work together on a common goal. And that really typifies what the group of folks that are working within the consortium are doing together. And so this summer, I worked the phone a lot, basically, in inviting and gathering folks who would like to be part of this program. And basically by the beginning of September, we had enough of a critical mass of volunteers that wanted to be part of this. And we developed and launched a website, foodsafetyconsortium.org, and started promoting the event. So it's kind of come together out of an observation with so many small vertical events happening and we're not really trying to launch a new conference as much as we're trying to consolidate a few existing ones.
Excellent. Dave, tell us a little bit about, or strike that, Rick, tell us a little bit about who should attend this conference and what are they going to get out of it?
The typical attendee is going to be a mid to senior level food safety and quality assurance manager or director. However, and there are quite a bit of topics and benefits to even some more entry level people, but it's really targeted towards mid and senior level people, coming from either food service companies, food retailers, suppliers, food safety service providers, and food processing companies, if you will. So when you look at the supply chain from farm to fork, we really don't have anything for agriculture. However, once you get into the food processing supply chain all the way through retail and food service, the topics at the consortium will benefit those professionals from those industries.
So what will be discussed in particularity which would be helpful for them to advance food safety in their careers?
It's a great question. What the consortium offers is practical guidance through the maze of managing the new challenges that food safety and quality assurance professionals face. The world, using the cliche, is getting smaller. We are importing in the United States more and more raw materials and food from Asia, South America, from all over. And when you look at some of the two main forces that are going on within the industry, one being GFSI, or the Global Food Safety Initiative, coupled with what the government is doing with FSMA, or the Food Safety Modernization Act. Both of those ultimately are about managing the supply chain. So the industry has evolved over the last 15, 20 years, going from really trying to up the ante in in-plant food sanitation to now understanding that as good as the food safety program is within a facility, its vulnerability is going to be how good the supplier or upstream, if you will, in the supply chain. How good is that food safety program, and how are you assured it's good? So this conference spends a lot of time on the food safety supply chain management with multiple tracks on issues that affect that area. For example, food fraud is one area where you could be very, very, very vulnerable to that if you don't have the complete understanding of what potentially is out there. And we'll be covering that under one track on the food safety supply chain track. At the same time, FSMA is, while still not a final rule, it is being rolled out in increments. And we'll have a standalone workshop that Beth Johnson from Food Directions is organizing, and having people like Eric Lieberman, the regulatory counsel at the Food Marketing Institute, speak on advising the attendees to that workshop on not only where FSMA is right now, but how to sort of take your food safety program, overlap what we know about FSMA and what we're expecting from FSMA, and be able to do a gap analysis of your program. You might find that a lot of what you're already doing is going to be in compliance with FSMA. However, you might find some areas that is not going to be in compliance. And if you can identify those early, the steps needed to move forward in being in compliant will be easier, less expensive, and have a less of a negative impact on your company. And ultimately, at the same time, the theory behind it is that you will improve your food safety program that will protect your customers as well as protect your brand and your company's financial interests. So, in summary, it covers a lot of practical areas. Right now, a big portion of the consortium is on the food safety supply chain management topic. However, there are some other topics that people, while at the conference, can attend and enhance their professional development. For example, there's a risk management workshop. There's a hand washing workshop. We take hand washing very, it's low tech to most people. They take it for granted. Yet it's still probably the number one source of contamination and not necessarily implemented right. So it will take a look at things that we take for granted, and hopefully attendees from programs like that will be able to walk away with a new knowledge base for things that they really thought they knew everything about. And we have another sanitation program that I think would benefit people with that same type of mentality, meaning, someone comes in, I already know all about sanitation. However, if you take and invest an hour into that workshop, I guarantee you'll walk away with things that you never knew before. So we're excited about offering that advancing of knowledge, advancing of best practices, and personal development as benefits to attendees coming to the consortium.
Well, Rick, you've certainly given an outstanding summary. Let me ask you, where will the conference be held?
The conference is being held at a convention hotel in Schaumburg, Illinois, the Renaissance, the property managed by Marriott. We've done one conference there earlier, and we're very pleased with the facility. Many people would ask, why Schaumburg, or, where in the world is Schaumburg, Illinois? Well, it's a suburb of Chicago, about 20 minutes from O'Hare Airport. And we chose it for a variety of reasons. One, it's a bit more central to the U.S. and gives good access for just about anybody in the U.S. Flying into Chicago. The same is true for folks that might be coming down from Canada or up from Mexico. And when you really think about it, because O'Hare has got so many international connections, it opens a lot of opportunities for folks who might want to come to the consortium from other parts of the world. But it is a suburb of Chicago, close to O'Hare, and because it's a suburb, the pricing for things like hotel rooms are significantly less expensive than what you would see downtown.
Excellent. Let me ask you, how can attendees participate other than physically being there?
We do have one option, and we've developed this over the last 2 years with some of our other programs. We offer a virtual attendance option. And what that means is that if you can't physically come to Schaumburg, Illinois and participate, which really is the best method or the best forum of getting the most out of any conference. But it's understandable that there are budget and time restrictions for folks, but they do still want to participate. So we offer, as I said, this virtual option. And what the virtual option is, it's very much akin to a webinar, meaning we run or simulcast a component of the consortium through WebEx so that virtual attendees will be able to listen to the audio in real time, see the PowerPoint presentations in real time, and actually be able to ask questions through a chat function. It's worked very well. As I said, it is not the same experience as being there because you don't have the face-to-face networking that you might get at, so let's say, a coffee break or a cocktail reception. But it does provide that information, and it does provide a good interaction. It's the next best thing to being there. And I do want to just confirm or provide a little caveat that only a part of the consortium is available like this. And it would be our plenary presenters, which are going to be available to everyone. So our keynote presentation, and then one component, which is the food safety supply chain track. Now that track is a very strong track, but it would not include some of the other standalone workshops that are offered at the consortium. So it would just be that one component. But we have had in the past about 20% of our attendees when we've done the single track program as virtual attendees, and the experience has been very positive for them.
Well, Rick, today, the date of our interview is November the 5th. When will the conference be conducted? 1 month from now,
December 4th and 5th, which is the first week after Thanksgiving. And it is a Wednesday and Thursday, so it will not interfere too much, hopefully, with anyone's holiday plans. The airfares are relatively low because the airlines have gouged everyone for the holiday. So it's an ideal time, and it's sort of a good time before people get into more of the holiday mode related to New Year's and Christmas. It is a good week for that. It also is an ideal time for those folks who are looking at their 2014 objectives that they have for the company, such as using one of the GFSI approved schemes. Maybe they're going to become GFSI in 2014. So that might be an objective. This timing would be ideal for them. So again, it's the first week in December, a Wednesday and Thursday, which is December 4th and 5th.
Rick, I get the sense you've really had some deep thinking and analysis on the various components to assembling the presentations for the consortium. What thoughts have you given about the cost of the conference for attendees to participate?
That's a good question. The registration prices are very much in line, if not lower than what most of the other conferences out there. We had offered a multitude of discounts starting early on with an early bird discount. We're currently still in the advanced registration discount, which represents about a 35 to 40% discount off of the regular price, and that's good until November 18th. And there are significant discounts for team members. You know, when you look at the consortium and you look at the multitude of different programs, you know, one person can't be in 3 different places at once. So as companies look at the agenda, they can literally send a team of folks, assign one person to one track, another person to another track, and a third person to a different track, and really get the most out of it. And when we're doing that, we're offering significant discounts, close to 50% off of the registration price when organizations send teams to the consortium.
Very good. Rick, as we think about all of the benefits that are offered by attending this conference, perhaps you can offer us some concluding remarks that would sort of push us over the edge on deciding whether or not to attend.
Well, that's a great question. And I think the takeaway from this is that this isn't the Rick Biros show. I've had a long legacy in food safety and quality in the industry, but this is not about me. It really is a program that it was done by the industry for the industry. And when you look at the set of speakers that have volunteered their time to share their knowledge, it's truly impressive. You're looking at the who's who of food safety and quality assurance in the industry. And I won't read every one, but there are some really senior level folks that are sharing their knowledge for the betterment of this industry. Companies are leaving their sales bags outside of the door and are willing to share their best practices because ultimately what their competitor might learn from them will benefit everyone. And, it really is a group effort. And again, I can't emphasize enough, it's really by the industry, for the industry. And we're hoping with the launch and premiere of this December, our plan is to roll this out into an annual event. The intent is really to have it continue to be one that is a effort that is a group effort. I'm the organizer of it. I keep all the loose pieces together, but it's not about me, as I said. It really is an industry-driven event, and we're really thrilled and honored to just be a part of it.
Well, Rick, I'd like to thank you for your time this morning, and perhaps, if you could, let us know about any future other conferences or activities that your organization might be considering.
Sure. We, as I mentioned, sort of the topics around the Food Safety Consortium this year, we have an ongoing partnership with the Pittsburgh Conference, which is an analytical chemistry and spectroscopy organization, as the name implies, based out in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They've been running an annual meeting for about 50 years, and earlier this year, it was in Philadelphia this March, where they attracted close to 18,000 people. They've recognized that food safety is a growing area for analytical chemistry. And we've partnered with PitCon, we meaning Food Safety Tech, in developing a standalone conference called the Food Labs Conference. And the Food Labs Conference is co-located at PitCon with, as the name implies, a focus on best practices, regulatory compliance, technology advances, all focused on the food laboratory director and manager. So that's coming up in 2014. Actually, it's also going to be in Chicago in 2014 at McCormick Center the first week in March. So we'll be working on that, and we've begun that process now. And just on that note, we will, as we look towards 2014 for the consortium, be expanding the curriculum in the consortium, where we'll be including aspects of the Food Labs Conference side by side with the supply chain issues, side by side with the sanitation and hand washing and regulatory compliance issues and GFSI issues. So we're, in the long run, expanding the consortium while still continuing to work with PitCon as a partner.
Well, Rick, as an experienced analytical chemist, I have to say that I participated in many PitCons, excellent conference, and many of the lessons that you learn there can be applied to food, which, again, I am deeply involved in food, and I thank you as a professional for engaging your resources and your experience in helping us make safer food for all.
It's been my pleasure, and it's been my honor. Thank you, Andy.
Well, Rick, have a great day, and look forward to the conference.
You too. Thanks.
Bye now.